So I want to know, what are the engineering best practices you follow as such? Because you just told us that you are responsible for multiple work streams, and how, and everything has to be get done. There's no chance for you to miss any of the deadlines. So what are the best engineering practices you put in place, and how you're running your engineering organization, if you can talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, and I think, the three kind of principles that I learned at Microsoft is create clarity, generate energy, and deliver on results,
Mm,
right? And so, when people think about engineering practices, they think about um, how do people write their best code, um, testing, and is your code performant, and does it achieve what it needs to achieve? And I think there's just much more than that, right? Because ultimately we are in the people business, and I think I mentioned that before. And so putting those practices in place, um, to cultivate that culture and that environment and that operating system that enables the team to deliver on the results. So first, I'd like to start with creating clarity. And creating clarity can't be top down,
mm,
right? If I go to my team and say, you must do this or else you're not going to get your promotion, or you're going to get bad reviews, right? That's just not going to work, right?
mm,
So I feel like creating clarity has to be that team effort, right? And some of the ways we do this is we have brainstorming sessions, and we work on an engineering memo together, and also being really customer driven. Like in some cases, we've talked to some of our customers, or looked at customer metrics. But at the end of the day, every developer needs to know why they're doing something, what's in it for the customers, and what's in it for them. And
mm.
that's where I think it's super critical to create that clarity. And I I have my favorite book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Yes, yes.
And I love this book. And the key about creating clarity is you want to have an environment of trust, but you also want to promote conflict, right? You want to promote an environment where people can speak up and disagree with you, right?
True.
And most of the time, like I tell my team, I'm wrong, so challenge me, right? I want to hear your diverse, opinions, and that's what's going to, enable us to create that accountability,
Mhm.
and to create that clarity. The second piece is generate energy. And this is where, like, I take on this role of like a cheerleader, right? And like we have dev team meetings where people demo their work, right? We have once a month we do like thank yous. So everybody in a Teams chat gets to type in thank yous to other folks on the team who've helped them, right? It's like generating that energy. Let's go, let's deliver amazing results for our customers, and then recognizing everyone's achievements as they make those baby steps,
Mhm.
right? And then the third piece is it's really about delivering results. And that's really, really important. At the end of the day, we're nowhere without our results. So we use OKRs to set up those clear goals and measurable outcomes, and we drive towards them. And so we follow like an agile process. We have backlog grooming, sprint planning. We have stand-ups across the team. But one of the other things I learned is and this was another failure I had, is you can't just take a certain process and apply it to the team. Like one size does not fit all. And so every one of my teams runs a little bit differently. And that's okay, because it's the piece that works for them. And so I find if you enable leaders on your team to create the best engineering process with others, then it's going to work best for them. And then the last piece I think is really important is having retrospectives and feedback sessions. learning what's working, what's not working. And what's not working, it's, time to rethink. And that's, I think, super, super important, to be constantly rethinking things, whether it's looking at metrics or experiment results to adjust what we're building for our customers, or moving people around from different projects, right? We have this program called Talent Mobility in the Customer Success Engineering organization, where every individual, if they feel like they're not happy with their project, they can go and move teams and work on something else without even having to require an interview if they're like in decent standings, right? So that's, I think, is super critical.
Right. Perfect. So clarity, when you said clarity, that's something I'm struggling even in my present company, because we are building so many products and we do have, product owners as such. But that's one of the most difficult piece, I feel, to get the clarity for the team. So do you do anything special there? Like, do you write BRD? Do you write functional spec? Do you have mock-up screen? How you bring the clarity in the team about a product?
Yeah, and like, look, by the way, just disclaimer, everything that I tell you today, like, apply your own filter, because I could be totally wrong, right? And so, like, I don't know if what we're doing is the best possible thing, but I think in terms of creating clarity, it's like, if I look at one of my work streams, the human cloud experiences work stream, it started off as an incubation effort, right? Where we were just running many experiments, right? And using data and customer feedback to figure out what we're going to go and do. And so in this case, creating clarity wasn't just some leader writing a white paper and imposing, this is what we're going to do. It was really about using data and customer signal to ensure that clarity is customer driven in regards to the next steps, right? In some cases, you have to really look at the business and the TAM, like the total addressable market, and what others are doing in the space, right? And it's also looking at data to come up with those key OKRs, right? That are achievable, but also really, really challenging. And so if I would say, like, I'm working on this, I'm not the best at it, but we're working through it. And then the last thing about creating clarity is addressing the whys, right? Because every developer wants to know, why are we doing it? And sometimes it's really about what's in it for them. And that's super important, to create that clarity in one-on-ones with every engineer. And recently we were just doing this document that we're going through in our one-on-ones, just to figure out each individual, what motivates them, what drives them, what do they want to achieve from their careers. And that's super, super important piece of the clarity, because even if you produce a customer-driven memo, if a person doesn't realize what's in it for them, they're not going to be motivated to deliver on great results. So I think that's an important piece.
Right. Perfect. Get the clarity for the team, generate the energy, and then OKR, have result-driven outcomes, and we should be properly defined in OKR. This is good tips. Now, my next question is, as GM for this position, you must be hiring a lot of people, and you generally do interview for an hour, and sometimes you're hiring somebody, very senior management position. So how in 1 hour you judge a person? So basically what I'm asking is, what all things you look in a candidate to be hired by you?